Peter, thank you very much for a great presentation today. From what I got from your presentation is that you look at destination marketing, I think, very different from sort of a traditional DMO. Maybe can you tell us a little bit what you think the role of a DMO is, in this day and age?
I think for us the role is Eindhoven as a city is not specifically a touristic city. We do have lots of hotels, but we also have many business tourism. You should not call it tourism; that's business visitors. But you have your Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays where people come to you. But we thought it was really important to brand the city in a very clear positioning, so that people know what it is, what it stands for, what it's going to be doing there. And what for us was also very important is to create events that kind of temporarily change the face of the city. And usually DMOs create a very specific uitstraling, radiation of a town, and we like to play over the years to give it a more designish feel, a more techy feel, and we have lots of even good efforts with that.
Yeah, and you really focused on your 3 pillars, and maybe you can tell us what those are, and also then what's the whole part about what's on brand and what's off brand, what events you support and which ones you don't. And how do the people feel of the events that don't fit with your brand?
Okay. What we're saying, we have the brand pillars of Eindhoven are technology, design, and knowledge, and we made the difference also in supporting events. So we have off-brand and on-brand. In reality, the off-brand they get twice as much money as on-brand because there are many more off-brand events. But you should compare it, for example, with the store. You have your window display where you put your momentarily your hot products, the things that you want to promote or want to sell, and in the back of the store is the whole content of everything that's on stock, you could say. I think we do the same with let's say city marketing, city branding, and also with destination branding. We put specifically in the shopping window the technology and the design and knowledge, because that's really the DNA of the city, a city of innovation. And when people come there, they also find we have also good parties and good things going on. So it's a good a climate for staying and for living there. But you cannot distinguish yourself with what everybody has. You have to distinguish yourself with a specific proposition. And that's what we do with the technology, design and knowledge.
And how does these 3 pillars, how does it sort of manifest itself in your marketing? Or is it purely through supporting the events that sort of fit those 3 pillars?
No, it's very consistent. It's in events, but it's also in the cultural strategy of the city. It's also in the sporting strategy of the city. So that we also try to convince events. For example, it's like the marathon. Many cities have a marathon. We also have a marathon in Eindhoven. So we're now more focusing on world records or records. We're focusing on what do you do with your marathon to make it very techy or give it a design element. And then you see the organizers think, hey, that's interesting, because maybe we should follow the runners with electric bikes, or maybe we should things with positioning technology. And then you can distinguish your marathon from the other marathons. So also in sport, also in culture, we try to radiate this philosophy in all of Eindhoven, let's say, city strategy.
Yeah, I really like that, because you're really focusing on the things that are happening on the ground to tell the Eindhoven story, and not so much through your traditional advertising. Is that sort of a very specific strategy that you employ, like a very conscious strategy?
It's a very realistic strategy, of course. And as you could say, earned media is, of course, great. So for us, it was really important to get this positioning and this identity clear. Then the media could sense you. We did last year in February, we did an event in Amsterdam, which was called The Miracle of Eindhoven, in Dutch, Het Wonder van Eindhoven. So for example, we specifically went to Amsterdam to, let's say, have a party in another city, to raise attention and to see that people think, hey, Eindhoven is coming up, and what's going on there. So I think in the end, a great human capacity is curiosity. I think in marketing, curiosity is not used that much, but it's a really important thing. So making people wondering, hey, what's going on there? That's a cool place. Well, why is it a cool place? That's a bit the strategy. So you create a kind of an aura around the city, and then people start coming. And let's say the bright talents and the city explorers, they come first, and then they check your city and they tell the story to everybody else.
Yeah, brilliant strategy, and we're really happy to have you here at SoMeT. what do you think of the conference so far?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting for me because I'm coming from a very different marketing world. I come from sports marketing before that, and then from IT and advertising. So, but I always like to be a bit of the disruptive element in such a world, and also show the DMOs that tourism, for example, in Eindhoven, tourism is very much also shopping, and shopping is a great value. And you have all the worries in cities that the inner cities they have problems. They have windows that are closing, and I think the marketeers should also. It's not getting just people there, but it's telling a really consistent, coherent story, and that's actually the choices that we made in Eindhoven, and we got people behind that strategy, but also a little bit of awakening their eyes and focusing not more on the tourism but on the tourism, and have your visitors do stuff, and then it's much more memorable than just undergoing a church or a building or a waterfall or whatever. Because we don't have those things, we very much focus on the experience, and experience stays much longer in the brain of the visitor.
True. Speaking of destinations that tell a story, we're here in Rovaniemi. I assume you haven't been here before. What do you think of the city?
It reminded me of Mönchengladbach, to be honest. So it's a very modernistic city. Everything is rebuilt. Of course, also they had a tragedy here during the war. But I like their ambition. They have a strong, consistent story. They have an ambitious city, and you feel that there's an energy in the city, and that's what I like. And sometimes you have cities that have a great reputation, but they're kind of been there, done that kind of feeling. And now they're running into problems because that new generation of customers, they make different choices, and they're much more into experience and into good storytelling, and not just in great objects or buildings or architecture. And I think that Rovaniemi created a unique thing. They claimed something that was there, which fits their history. And it's also a thing that's still viable in 2014. And it has a business potential.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again for being here. You did a great job.